good afternoon for those of you on a different time zone. I'm just getting my cameras better set up here. Okay, for those of you who are new, I am live in our Facebook group. It is called Whole, Connected, and Free. For those of you who are watching the replay on the Facebook group, it will be on the group forever. And whether you are watching live or the replay, I would love if you would comment, say hi. If you're on the replay, write hashtag replay. Sometimes it shows me someone is there, but it doesn't show me who. I don't know why. Sometimes it shows me who and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm just going to double check that I can see my video in the group. Yes, I can see it. So, all right. So please invite your friends to this group if you're not on the group yet and you're watching the replay on YouTube. The link is down below of how to join us. You just need to answer a few simple questions so you get an idea of what we're doing in this group and so that you know it's a good fit for you. And there's a fun little freebie. So, so that's fun. All right, so my name is Sarah. I am a master herbalist and I'm also a chemical engineer. I'm also a permaculture designer, and I've spent the last decade plus figuring out how to get well. And I've learned quite a few things and want to teach you. So this is your chance to ask me anything herb related, nutrition related, lifestyle related, on holistic health. All right. So there was a question that came up in the chat for this event on dental health. So I'm probably going to start there. And I have some fun little visual aids. But just to give everyone a little more time to hop on, I wanted to introduce, again, for those of you who are new or forgot, plus some major announcements. So I have two different websites. The first is herbalembrace.com, and that is for my handmade products. It is clean skincare, totally handmade, organic, wildcrafted, or grown on my farm. Herbs are infused in that skincare. Also naturally caffeine-free herbal teas that are not just for a fun little tea party, but also for actually healing the body. They are actually very nutritious teas some with specific actions, some just all around enjoyable and nutritious. And if you ever need help choosing one, just send me a message. All right, if you're on social media, Instagram or Facebook, you can find me as far as the handmade products at A Place to Come to Farmstead, all one word, okay? But then I also have my health coaching business. So that is everydayandexperiment.com. And so because this is more of a health coaching call, that is the channel that I put these under, okay? So if you want to DM me there, just search at Everyday and Experiment, again, all one word, on Instagram or Facebook. There's also ways to email me if you go to either of those websites. You can go to a contact page. You can find ways to contact me if you're not on social media, which I completely respect, by the way. All right. Okay, so a key announcement about the coaching business is that all prices for services and digital products are going up on the 6th. Okay, so August 5th is the last day to lock in your downloads or your subscriptions that you want before the prices go up. And there is an exciting new program that I am launching next week, especially for mamas who want to become pregnant, especially if they want to build the healthiest body they can before they become pregnant, so that pregnancy can be that much more comfortable, have a much higher chance of building a very healthy baby, and having fewer complications throughout the pregnancy and birth and postpartum. It really matters, okay, to prepare your body beforehand. Now, for mamas that are already pregnant, there's still a lot you can do to improve your health, and there's a lot you can do to kind of mitigate the things that are already happening. All right, none of us has a perfect body, and the expectation of creating perfect health in the sense of never getting sick, never having an issue, never getting injured, never ever having reflux in your life ever again, you know, that alone can drive you into dis-ease. All right, ask me how I know. So we really want to work on that balance of, here's the principles of deeply healing the body, not covering things up, not tricking the body, not giving it a band-aid. Here are the principles of giving the body what it needs to clean itself up and to rebuild itself into the healthiest version that it can be, but not discounting the power of the diet in allowing that process to happen, and the power of being aware of our thoughts and our emotions, and even our movement, right? Our whole lifestyle, and how it is either helping us on that healing journey or making it a lot harder than it needs to be. All right, like, I'm not going to beat around the bush with you. Healing is work. I don't think it's meant to not be work, right? Like, do I believe in spontaneous healing? Absolutely. It's awesome. Do I believe in miraculous healing? Absolutely. It's awesome. And that's another reason why my big push is always, we do this in partnership with God. You don't have to be Christian to work with me. I am Christian. But I will always encourage you, do this in partnership with God, because that is really where the healing comes from. That is where we're connecting with the divine and with our own body to understand what is the next best step for us at every step of the way, right? We don't want to ask once and move forward with our understanding without checking in over and over. Sometimes every 5 minutes we need to check in if we have a lot of ingrained patterns, especially of movement. I am a movement coach as well. There's just, you can't do only one, all right? But again, I believe that this is a process that we learn to do, that we learn and we commit to actually working on ourselves, to actually supporting ourselves, to actually asking for the help that we need, because it's not going to be a magic pill. It's never a magic pill, even if it's a pill of turmeric or some other awesome herb. It's never going to be just that one thing that gets you where you want to be forever, right? Sometimes that one thing is very helpful for a couple months, for a couple of years, and then it stops working. Really, it's that we just need something else, right? It's a progression, okay? So I think I've kind of beaten you on the head with that one for now. All right, so it is 11:11. I always like that number. Okay, so I am going to dive into dental health today. Let me pull up the actual question just to make sure I answer it fully here. It's a little funny having two different cameras. I can't quite see all my screens, but we're gonna make it work. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so here is a question. Okay, so this group member had a question about an idea she had about comfrey. So she said, I want to make a paste of some form out of comfrey root. Looks like this, by the way. Every household should have this on hand, okay? It's comfrey root powder. Now, side note, on herbalembrace.com, I can order you, sorry, I'll get this, this screen as well. Okay, comfrey root powder. So I am able to order single herbs. Like I mostly sell Dr. Christopher's and Holistic Botanicals products, but I can also drop ship you some single herbs. It's not Star West Botanicals, but I do have access to organic and wild-crafted, high-quality herbs, single herbs. But the availability and the prices from where I get them from is not consistent enough for me to put on the website. So if you ever want a single herb in the cut or powder form, this is the powder form. All right, the cut form is going to look more like a loose leaf tea, which I'll show you another time. I didn't bring it out with me. Just send me a message, or if you're putting in an order and you want to add that to your order, put in a little note at checkout on herbalembrace.com, and then I will contact my people and find out what is the current price, what is the availability, and I can add it to your order. Okay, so back to comfrey root, okay? Okay, I understand that the potential is 16 times greater than the leaf. That's possible. I'll be honest, that number, I can't say for sure that's the same number I've read before. Really, beyond a number, the principle is that the comfrey leaf, just a minute.
Look at this.
Thank you, it's so pretty.
It's not yours.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, but the principle is that the comfrey root is much, much, much stronger than the leaf. The leaf is really great for skin problems and lung problems and sort of milder things that can take a gentle treatment. The comfrey root is the heavy hitter for broken bones and severe conditions of any type of tissue or bone, ligament, etc. Okay. Okay, so she wants to know if she can use this on cavities to see if it will heal some of them. I have been making my own healing salve with comfrey as the main ingredient. Awesome. I've started to use it to brush my teeth, as well as mixing with clove oil, which is a really great antiseptic and pain relief, analgesic, antiseptic and analgesic. And Dr. Christopher's tooth powder. Okay, which there's my that I've obviously had for a little while. And this is, by the way, on sale in August, 25% off for this 2-ounce tub of product. Okay, so you can see it there. Make sure we can see it on this camera. Okay, so it's this powder. You wet your toothbrush, and then I hold my toothbrush over the tub, and then I sprinkle this on the toothbrush, gently tap the toothbrush out, and then I very gently brush my teeth with it. And sometimes I will rinse and then apply it again, or I will just not rinse because, right, like I want those healing herbs to be applied in there. The only thing here is, because it is tooth and gum powder, and it's technically considered an internal product by the FDA, they can't legally put the comfrey root in here. Now, again, this is all purely educational. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not prescribing, diagnosing, or treating disease in this call. But what I do is I add comfrey powder, comfrey root or comfrey leaf, to the tooth and gum powder. And specifically, I make a little paste out of the tube. So I'm going to tell you how I do that in a second. I just want to finish reading what she sent. She said, my gums have stopped bleeding, woo, and they are doing better, but the damage is further along than I would like to admit, and I'm thinking they need something stronger. Okay, so here's the deal. First off, okay, even if you go to a holistic dentist, and I have, oh my goodness, I have shopped around and been very disappointed. I think they have a very important role to play, but I have not found one who believes that you can heal cavities once it's past the dentin layer, okay? Or once it's past the enamel layer and gotten into the dentin, all right? I've had this argument. I became a problem child at an office or two. And so even though they are holistic dentists and theoretically teach you how to remineralize your teeth, it's only that top layer that they believe you can actually remineralize and still push you to drill and fill. So I cannot tell you for sure that this will heal your cavities, but the principle is that it should help, okay? It should help rebuild teeth. I also have anecdotal stories from other people I know who have literally made this into a paste and regrown teeth with this stuff, all right? But officially it can't be done. So I just want to let you know that's kind of what we're playing with. So I'm going to tell you the full routine that I would do if I had a cavity problem, all right? First off, we got to get into the diet. And if you want to go back and watch more of my previous videos, I do have, I think it's like 2 hours long. One of the first videos on my channel is about Dr. Christopher's mucusless diet. And you can get a lot more details there than I can give you in like the 10 minutes we have left on this 30-minute call, okay? You've got to look at the diet, especially sugar and flour, okay? Sugar and flour are not helping the microbiome of your mouth. They are feeding the guys that are in there creating plaque. They are feeding that biofilm, and that's a problem, okay? So that's one thing. The other thing is we need to infuse the body with minerals in an organic form. So again, this is where we are using wholesome herbs as our multivitamins, all right? Dr. Christopher's Vital Herbs, Dr. Christopher's Jurassic Green, wholesome minerals that the body actually knows how to absorb, but isn't one of these like lab-made minerals that's all, we've taken magnesium and we've put it in this form that bypasses the blood-brain barrier. Like, okay, I know people get some quick results with that, but the problem is you're forcing something somewhere that the body has a natural barrier against. And that always makes me nervous as far as what are the long-term consequences, all right? All these like liposomal supplements and stuff, like this is not, these don't have long-term safety history, whereas the herbs do, all right? We take the herbs into our mouth as a tea, tincture, oil, electuary. I go through all of these on my online courses on everydayandexperiment.com, what all these different things are, how to make them, when to use one or the other. We take them in the most natural way our body can take them in, either in our mouth or on our skin, and then the body knows what to do with it, and it knows just the right amount to take this place or that place. Now, are sometimes some of those processes a little gummed up? Yes, and that's why we do the cleansing as well. Anyways, all right, so I talked about the like the mineral-rich formulas. We also have our mineral-rich juices, especially our, carrot juice, celery juice, making that green lemonade that I've talked about. Hi, Rebecca, welcome. All of those are going to infuse our body with the minerals it needs to rebuild those bones and those teeth in a natural form. All right, another great one that I love is spirulina and chlorella. I don't sell these exactly, but I can drop ship the encapsulated spirulina. But this is what I've been using for years until I had that option. So it's what I use, and I like this because they're little tablets that my kids can actually chew up. And obviously, if you chew it, then it's gonna like sit on your teeth for a while and give you a little treatment that way. But it's broken cell wall, rich in chlorophyll, And it's just so full of minerals. It's good for so many reasons at cleansing and rebuilding the body, especially building healthy blood, which healthy blood, healthy body, okay? So those are just a few of the dietary things. Now I'm gonna go into my oral routine. Oh, I do have one more. The Dr. Christopher's Herbal Calcium Formula. All right. If you are someone who has a history of calcium deficiency, or it runs in your family, so for example, it very much runs in my family. I don't know where it started, but it only continues down the generations unless before the mother becomes pregnant, she really gets a handle on it, okay? But it's never too late. It's never too late to work on stuff. But I'm just telling you, most of us by now are calcium deficient. And so what's interesting about this one is it's not just giving you calcium. Like, it's not crushed up eggshells, it's not crushed up oyster shells or rocks or whatever. Or a bovine, what do they call it? I don't know, dried crushed up cow bones, right? Before I was using this, I was using the Aura Wellness brand tooth powder, and it has that, you know, hydroxyapatite from crushed up cow bones. Okay. It didn't work. All right. So when we switch to a more plant focused and plant-based way of life, then the perspective is totally different than, okay, we're going to use an animal product where, like, this is the exact thing that my body should have in it, and so I'm going to take it from the animal in that form. With the herbs and with the plants instead, we are actually taking the precursors into our body. There's a book I really need to get that explains how silica, wholesome, in an organic form, again, organic means incorporated in life in a plant, and that the body can recognize and use. I just lost my train of thought. Oh yes, so silica and all of the other incredible complementary compounds that are in these herbs. Again, we don't even know what probably, I mean, I don't know, at least 50%. Like, we think we know what's in these different herbs, but there's so much more that we don't even know how to measure yet. We don't even know that we don't know it's there, right? So of course we don't know, like, what the marker would be on some kind of, you know, testing for it. But it has all of those things that there is actually a biological transmutation that happens to convert it into calcium. And it goes to the right parts of the body, okay? Because when we end up with bone spurs, arthritis, osteoporosis, but we're taking tons of calcium and we're trying to get, you know, the vitamin D and the K2 and the fish oil and everything in just the right proportions, or the liposomal this and the liposomal that, we're still just guessing, okay? Like, no one really knows. But we still end up with a high blood calcium and a low bone calcium, all right? So we still end up with Swiss cheese bones, and now we have extra bone growth places we don't want it. And so that's the difference. When you use the herbs, there is an innate divine intelligence in those herbs that is going to convert it to what you need and put it where it needs to go. Okay, so I highly recommend that. All right, and then, so I will floss with a, I think it might even just be called vegan floss. But I will find it and I will put it in the comments, a link for it. But it's I think it's coated with like cinnamon essential oil and one or two other things, so like very antiseptic essential oils, which if you have cavities, you have an oral microbiome issue, right? And so when we're flossing, we don't want to like push bacteria into pockets where it can cause more problems. Or if we're flossing and our gums are bleeding, then we can actually open up possibility for worse infection, and that's not what we want. So I do like using floss that is coated in these essential oils. Or I will make up a blend or buy a blend. There's some good ones out there, you know, that have the clove, the peppermint, things like this. And I just kind of like coat the floss with it before I floss. Okay, so that's one thing. And then I rinse my mouth really well after that, and then I will the labels kind of come off it, but this is Dr. Christopher's X-Septic. Again, I'll put links in the comments for everything. And it has white oak bark, golden seal root, fresh garlic bulb, comfrey root, myrrh gum, and cayenne pepper. It is spicy, okay? But this is an incredible, again, in my opinion, every family should not be without this. We use it on any wound, instead of like a hydrogen peroxide or something. I mean, of course, if it was like totally full of dirt, I might use that, but I haven't used anything but this in over 3 years. All right, so anyway, and so I will put a squirt of this in some water and swish it around in my mouth for a while. I mean, honestly, the longer the better. And so that is going to start disinfecting the mouth, but not in a way that it is going to disrupt the microbiome. If anything, it is going to balance it better. Okay, just checking a little Rebecca's question here. Floss with fluoride. I didn't know there was floss that had fluoride on it. So I don't have time to talk today about fluoride because we are almost up on the 30 minutes. So I probably can't even legally tell you not to use it. But I can tell you that I haven't used it in years. And so I'm just sharing what I do use. So again, I do that floss, I do the aseptic rinse. I have a tongue cleaner. All right, I got a really nice one that I can wash. You just go like this. I don't want to be gross on video. But anyway, so you scrape your tongue with it, rinse it out, scrape it again, rinse it out until you're happy with the state of your tongue. Now again, if you have a tongue that is coated white and yellow, you might have a candida problem. And if you do, contact me and we can have a nice little consult and I will teach you a protocol that has a huge history of success around rebalancing that candida and healing the gut. All right, it is all connected. It is all connected, and that's where, you know, you can apply, you can do the surface stuff and it just might work for you, but so many of us now, our bodies just need that true deeper healing, and again, that helps set up future generations for a lot more success. You know, that they can be born with that health that I think we all have a divine right to. It's wax coated. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I like mine because it's not coated with any kind of petroleum wax. So again, I will put that in the comments when I have a minute. So let me just finish off with, then I will brush my teeth with the tooth and gum powder, and I've added comfrey root powder to it. And I will rinse that if I want to, or I will just leave it in. And then I do make a paste with the two. So you could make a paste with just comfrey root. I make a paste with both because the herbs in here are actually very similar to the herbs in here. And so that way you're getting internal and external application of the herbs, which is very important if you have something like cavities. Those have been developing over several decades, possibly, depending on how old you are. All right. They can develop fast, but many of us, you know, when we reach our late 20s and early 30s, cavities are showing up that really started when we were really young, you know, and drinking Kool-Aid and eating popsicles. So when you have something that's been around for a long time, or it's gotten bad enough that it's like, all right, like I either need to fix this or it's got to get drilled and filled, that is when you got to hit it harder. If you don't feel like the progress is happening fast enough, you've got to hit it harder. You do it more often and you do a higher dosage. And so again, this is just education. I'm not telling you what to do. But I have found that when I make that paste, and I pack it into the space between, like right there, the space between my cheek and that gum. So it's going to be feeding the tissue around there, and then I will put a little bit, like if I have a cavity on my molars, I'll put it on the surface of that molar and then kind of hold it in place with my teeth, but trying not to clench. And then I just make sure that I sleep on the other side, because like if I slept on the same side the paste was at, it kind of pushes it around and it's very distracting and you don't sleep well and blah blah blah. So so I actually did this for the first time this week, so I was excited that you asked this question. It's not that bad. And the other thing about this formula, let's see, does this one have the oak bark too? No, it doesn't. So this has your high calcium, high silica herbs, but the tooth powder also has the cloves, the prickly ash bark, like some of the things that are going to help with pain, but also that white oak bark is a powerful astringent, and people use it for bleeding of the gums and loose teeth. And so there's amazing stories of Dr. Christopher advising people to make a paste of just white oak bark, and the Native Americans used to do this, of the white oak bark powder and some water. You can add a little slippery elm powder if it's not quite like sticking together enough, and then you just pack it, in that space I showed you, all through the mouth if necessary, right? And you leave it on as much of the time as you can. Like you eat, you put it back in. And so it's up to you to listen to that feedback from your body and see how things are going. I found, I started to develop a little bit of tooth pain. I made this paste, put it in my mouth, and overnight, I would say actually the first day it hurt a little worse, but the second day the pain was almost completely gone. So that's also something that can happen with healing. Sometimes it actually feels a little worse and then it gets better, but just 2 days, okay? Now, the trick is now for me to keep doing it even though it feels better, because this is a chronic issue, right? It's gonna keep coming back. And it's sometimes you get that like initial huge healing, but then with really not that much effort, you get that dramatic difference, but it's getting that last 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever it is, that's going to take that consistent effort and dedication. All right. So we are at 35 minutes. So Rebecca, I'm so glad you asked that question. So I am going to close the Q&A now, and I'm going to put links to these things. Again, some of them are actually on sale right now. And, when you order from an authorized retailer of Christopher's products, you know that it's getting drop shipped straight from the manufacturer, not sitting in a warehouse somewhere. There are sellers on Amazon that sell these things at lower than wholesale price. The manufacturer does not know how they do it, and they are very skeptical that any of it is good quality. And I do know some people who have ordered it and actually gotten fake products. So we really don't want that. Invest in knowing where your herbs are really coming from. I highly recommend. Anyway, so I will put those links there. Feel free to ask me more questions. Again, my prices for private coaching and other services are going up on the 6th. And so if you want to grab a subscription on everydayinexperiment.com, please check that out. If you have any questions, send me a message. I am happy to help. And otherwise, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week.